ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for Mr. Charlie Mulvey! Alrighty, kids. This next contestant, he's big, he's mean, he has statistically less of a sex drive than your average human being. I'm talking, of course, about Ed and Smith! Okay, I have to walk upstairs now.
Hey, I mean, I exist. What's up? We're gonna talk tonight about some stuff. Like Ryan said, I've kind of learned about myself recently that I believe that I have a slightly lower than average sex drive. I don't like saying it like that. I don't consider myself to be asexual. I don't think it's quite that low, but a little bit lower than average, perhaps. And I want to talk about some moments in my life that made me realize that. But first, just to give an example, my best friend. Point and laugh. My best friend is in the audience tonight. My best friend has a very, very high sex drive. I hope you let me say that. Is that okay?
I already gave you permission.
I just wanted everyone to know. My best friend has a very high sex drive, and I have a very low sex drive. They make it up for the two of us, right? The common ground is neither of us have sex. So a couple years ago, 2019, I broke up with my last serious girlfriend. Boo-hoo, whatever. I did what everyone does when they break up. I downloaded Tinder. Am I right? Raise your hand, please, if you've ever downloaded Tinder, if you've had a Tinder account. Some of you are lying. Raise them high. All right, keep them raised if you still have a Tinder account. All right, cool. Keep them raised, keep them raised. Okay. So 2019, I didn't get a lot of matches, I did this thing where I made like a PowerPoint presentation. Has anyone seen that on Tinder? I thought it was so cute, and it's awful. I was such a nerd. I listed all my hobbies. I said I was a theater kid. Don't put that on a dating profile. No one will swipe on you. It is awful. But I made a friend, I would say, or call her A for tonight for these purposes. A was a person. I love her. We still talk every once in a while, but we were very different people. Her sex drive was very high. And we were talking one night. Also, I should clarify, she lived in St. Cloud. I, to this day, never met her in person. But we were talking on the phone one night. It was like 11 p.m. And we got on the topic about nudes. And she was like, Aiden, theoretically, would you ever want to be sent a nude photo? And I said, I never have. I don't know. I think I wouldn't be against it, perhaps. She said, no, Aiden, would you want a nude photo? And I said, maybe, I don't know. She said, Aiden, do you want me to send you a nude photo? I said, of you? She said, Aiden, do you want me to send you a nude photo of myself right now? And I said, oh gosh, perhaps, yeah. Shoot away. And within a second, I got 3 or 4 photos. I was like, cool, deleted them immediately. We talked for another 20 minutes or so, got off the phone. That was the last time I talked on the phone. That was 3 years ago. We follow each other on Twitter now, and that's about it. I see where I went wrong there now. It took me a few years, if I'm being honest. There's another thing you need to know. My shirt's not buttoned. That's so embarrassing. We're gonna leave it like that. There's another thing you need to know about me. Unfortunately, I'm a fan of 21 Pilots. That and my sex drive probably correlate somewhere. I don't know where. But in 2019, after all of that, I decided I needed some time away. So I went to the sexiest place imaginable. I took a solo trip. I flew to Columbus, Ohio to see 21 Pilots live in their hometown. Columbus, Ohio is known for two things, and neither of them are sex. Which is not why I went there. I went there for 21 Pilots. So I camped out on the street for 3 nights to see my favorite band live. This is genuinely bothering me. We're gonna fix it. I'm so sorry. Okay, cool. So I went to see 21 Pilots live. I camped out on the street for 3 nights. We were in a park, we were on the sidewalk. I had a sleeping bag, right? I did have a hotel room though, north of the city, about 20 minutes. And a lot of weird stuff happened on this trip. We had a gun threat at one point, just America. And I made a couple friends on the way. There was these 2 women who were about my age, had driven all the way from Arizona up to Columbus, also to see 21 Pilots. And they were talking about how they hadn't showered in several days. And I was like, hey, you know what? I don't want to pay for an Uber back to my hotel, but I need to go there anyway, if you drive us up there, you can use the shower in my hotel room. So we did that. Me and these 2 complete strangers drove the 20 minutes, had a time, I guess. I don't even know their names. I don't think I knew their names at the time. And it wasn't until later I realized what I had done. I had brought 2 lesbians, complete strangers, to my hotel room. I brought 2 lesbian strangers to my hotel room. There's not a joke there. I just really want you guys to know that. All right. There was 2 back-to-back shows, right, for 21 Pilots. After the first show, in between the second, my line moved to the venue. And the friends that I had made nearby were all hungry after the show, so we ordered Domino's. It took over an hour for them to tell us that they were closed. And in that time, I had made a new friend. We're gonna call her G for the sakes of tonight. And G, we met because she needed to use my phone charger. And we got to talking. She was from Detroit. And she was catching a 7:30 bus back to Detroit. So she had 6 hours to just mess around, do whatever she wanted. And because my Domino's never came, I was super hungry. So I was like, hey, do you wanna go find a food truck? Whatever. So we did. We spent the next 6 hours together exploring downtown Columbus, Ohio. Not just like walking, we rented 1 electric scooter. You know what I'm talking about when I say electric scooter? I'm not a small guy. Me and G shared 1 electric scooter. There's no way that that is not like some kind of sexual thing, right? Anyway, it comes to 7 o'clock, I bring her to the Greyhound station, and she's like, hey, you said you have a hotel room, right? I'm like, yeah. What if I move my bus ticket back a couple hours, and we go back to your hotel room? I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. That'd be a good idea. So I called an Uber, and we got up there. The sun rose. She looks at me and says, I've never seen the sunrise before. That is bullshit. I'm gonna be honest. She said that to me, this 20-year-old woman. There's no way that that was true, right? We get back to the hotel room. 1 queen-size bed and a red roof in northern Columbus, Ohio. I quick take a shower. We get in bed together, and we both go to sleep. Didn't get her phone number. I probably said I love you. I don't remember. All I know is that in the morning I bought her breakfast. Aww. Shut up. The next day, or later that day, I seen 21 Pilots for the second time. She took the bus back to Detroit. Never seen her again, of course. And this just goes to show that 21 Pilots fans don't have sex. Good night, everybody.
had to hire him because unfortunately the good guys didn't want to come. I present to you, without a shadow of a doubt, Tyler Farron!
Was controlling me.
Yeah, how's it all going, you know? This good old Fargo evening. Yeah. You know, I didn't grow up in Fargo. I came up here from a little old town called West Cliff, Colorado, population like 495. I am related to like half of them. So, you know, I decided to come up here like to North Dakota, like any normal person would. You know, it's interesting because I talked to a lot of like Fargo locals, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it sucks up here. There's nothing to do." What do you mean? It's like either you're lying or you don't know what nothing means. Because a small town in the middle of the mountains, that's truly nothing to do. Anyway, but yeah, it was such a culture shock coming up here. It's really weird. You all like use the locks on your doors? Seriously, like the only time someone will use the lock on their front door is if they're going on vacation for at least a year. Even your car doors, you'll never lock them. In front of the grocery store, you'll see people just having their cars idled out there for like half an hour. And it's like, thanks for the emissions, guys. But no, like it was just, it's just a different place. One time, me, my sister, and my mom were going over to the grocery store, and we passed by the clinic. My grandma works at the community clinic. Quick aside, we call her Yaya, which if you didn't know is Greek for grandma. So it's interesting because we are not Greek. The way it goes is my grandma, when she was a baby, her landlord was, her parents' landlord. She didn't own the lease or anything. But the landlord of their house was an older Greek woman, and she would call her the Greek term for baby girl. And when my grandma, it was time to pick out her grandma name, like you do, she was like, "Oh, I'll continue on with the Greek theme." You know, which is cute, but I'm pretty sure it's cultural appropriation. But she's old, it's fine. No, so we were passing this clinic, and my mom suddenly turns into the clinic parking lot, and we're like, "Mom, you're acting just slightly more crazy than normal. What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, I want to see Yaya's new car. She recently got a new Jeep Cherokee." And we're like, "Okay, you're just gonna stop in, say hi, say, hey, can we take a look at your car?" It's like, "No, I'm just gonna break in." We're like, "Oh, okay." So we drive up, we see a Jeep Cherokee in the parking lot. It's the only one there. I'm like, "Oh, this must be it." So she parks there, and I thought she's just gonna like go around the car, look in the windows, just kind of like a creep. No, as soon as we get out, she walks up to the front door, and it's just gets in, starts like pressing buttons and going through the glove compartment like a rabid raccoon. And we're just like, "Mom, what are you doing?" It's like, "I'm being a creep. Let me do this." God. Which, by the way, we're not entirely sure that this is her car. I mean, it is Colorado. A third of the cars are Jeeps there. I was gonna say, we have a total of like 3 different automobiles that you could drive. It's Jeep, pickup truck, and Subaru. That's it. Like, without us, I'm pretty sure Subaru would be out of business. But no, I'm sitting in the car like, I just don't want to associate with this. I don't want to be a witness, I'll just be over here. But then I see out of the corner of my eye, she pulls out a napkin and a pen and starts like writing a note. And I'm like, "What are you doing, trying to leave evidence? This is a covert operation, come on." But no, like I said, I just had to get used to it, honestly. For the most part, when coming up here, I kept the door to my room locked most of the time. There was one time I didn't lock the door, and after that I made sure to keep it locked. So freshman year, I stayed over in Reed Hall. which is the hall for those who couldn't bother choosing a different hall to live in. But no, it was like kind of December-ish. It was a Saturday night. It was a really long day for me. So I was just kaput. My roommate was out of town visiting his parents. And it was one of those like really nice, deep, dreamless sleeps. Where, like, you don't even know what's going on. So I'm like, it's like 3 a.m. And suddenly I hear the back of my head, and my brain, my subconscious mind is like, alert, alert, alert. I'm like, what is going on? Something is afoot here. That is my door that's opening. So I kind of crane my head, mostly unconscious, and I just see coming through the door this large silhouette basked by the light from the hallway, just. I'm like, oh hey, it's my roommate Luke. He's coming home from his parents' house at 3 a.m. That's great. Hi Luke. And I get a response that doesn't sound like him. I'm not even sure, but because I'm still mostly asleep at this point. In my mind, I'm just like, something isn't right here. You should probably check it out to make sure you're not gonna get murdered. So I got up. I was in kind of one of those lofted beds. So I had to get up, climb down the ladder, go over to the light, because it was still off, turn on the light. I'm blinded for like 45 seconds. And just as I'm kind of like striking up conversation with this guy, I was like, oh, hey, Luke, what's going on? I can't tell what he's saying. And I'm focusing in on this guy. It's like, that doesn't look like Luke. I'm like, oh, hey man, what are you doing here? This is my room.
No, man, this is my room.
Like, no, this is in fact the room of my room in this dormitory. No, listen, this is my room. He's clearly out of it, drunk, probably high with something else. I don't know. He smelled. Slowly, as I'm like having this conversation with this guy, I'm slowly, regaining my consciousness. And I get to the point where I'm like, listen, man, this isn't your room. You gotta go. They're like, okay, man. Yeah, sure. Just listen. No cops. No cops. I don't know why no cops is relevant. Do I want to know? Not in particular. Just go. So he like walks past me and he holds out his hand, right? I'm just like, does he want me to shake his hand? Whatever gets him out the door. So like slowly like go to shake his hand. He grabs it and pulls me into like the bro hug situation. I'm just like, you're moist. No. My knuckles, they touch his chest. And when I pull my hand away, my knuckles are covered in blood. Oh. So I'm just like, go. Leave. He leaves. I close the door behind him immediately because I'm freaked out. I'm just standing there in the middle of the floor of my door. I'm like, what the hell do I do about this? Do I actually tell someone about this? Do I just pretend it didn't happen? What do I do? And then I look to my left. And on my left, by my desk, is a backpack. A backpack that is not mine. And I'm just like, oh. Is there a bomb in that thing? I'm gonna see a severed head. Great, I have to deal with this now. So I go over, I picked it up. It's damp. It smells like vomit. I'm just like, oh, this is great. I made sure to look in there just to make sure there's nothing that was gonna kill me or incriminate me in court. That's the very first thing you should do. Luckily, there wasn't. I'm like, okay, I have to deal with this. I went ahead and woke up my roommate at 3 a.m., gave him that, and I was like, yeah, he asked me, did you see where he went? And I was like, no, I was too busy trying to be not murdered. So I didn't pertain to ask where his next destination was. But talking about this now, I'll say there is a non-zero sum chance that guy was a ghost. Now, hear me out. It's the slow creaking open door, kind of like the drunken moan, just like. He was wearing all white, soaked in blood apparently, And you know, it was 3 a.m., which if you don't know, is technically the witching hour. So, I'm just gonna throw that out there. And you know, like, I have a semi-interesting history with ghosts. I've never seen one myself, but I believe that they could be there, because if I don't believe in them and it turns out that they are real, then I just look like an asshole. So, why not just play the safe route? But no, one time, me and my parents, when we were coming up here to drop me off at college, like, let's do the tourism thing. Drive up from Colorado. Let's go to South Dakota, see Mount Rushmore. Let's go to Deadwood, which, if you don't know, Deadwood is a big tourist attraction with Western style, lots of casinos. There's gun shows in the street, and they also do ghost tours. One of which was a ghost tour of this big Deadwood hotel. And we're like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So we go, and we're like, yeah, this hotel was once a heavily used brothel. As such, most of the spirits here are the employees, if you know what I mean. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, history and all that. And they made sure to mention most of the ghosts tend to appear to attractive young men. I did not see a single ghost. Which, you know, me being 18 years old at the time, thinking I'm hot stuff, it's like, this is really emasculating. I don't know how I feel about this. But at the same time, it's, yeah, I was, disappointed that they thought that way. I was kind of insulted, but at the same time, kind of relieved, because that would have been a very toxic relationship. Anyway, that was me. Thank you all.